Hello everyone. Today's topic is what is the purpose of our life? If you see all around the world, so many religion, people following the religion, and those people who are extremely following the religion, and there are people who moderately follow religion. Their belief systems are different. There are people who does not believe in any religion, but they follow certain moralities. People follow religion having moralities because of the religion. And those people who question themselves whether God exists or not. And there are people who believe in universal consciousness. There are people who are not connecting themselves to any religion, even though they do practice certain rituals or certain aspect of the religion that they are born into or they are attracted to or they want to, but they're more into having their own consciousness telling them this is right, this is wrong, the morality about all of those things. And there are people who question the existence, whether they call absurdism or what is the point of anything at all, and nihilism. There are a lot of people who, when they need, they think there's something exists when they are in control of their life. They believe in themselves, and there are people, the same people, when they think they are not in control, they let go in the hands of the divine. And there are people who does not think about God or divine or spirituality. They just focus on their personal life, their responsibilities. There are a lot of people exist in this world. Everybody's goal is different. Dreams is very personal, but it also is influenced by, you know, the circumstances that you are born into, the people that come to our life that influences the experience, the personal experience and the second hand experience, the lesson that we learn, and something that inspires to hold on to certain dreams or to necessary to fulfill some responsibility, some necessaries. There are a lot of things, you know. When people are born into situations when they feel lonely, despite either having too many people around, or people who are born into situations where they are actually alone physically, or those people who like to be alone, not lonely. Loneliness is completely different, and being alone is very different. No, it is all leads us towards one thing. There are a lot of people say a lot of things. Unless we seek it ourselves, it is something that comes from somebody that even if you consider this person is learned, this person is XYZ, whether it's a businessman or a spiritual guru, it is their experience. You know, souls on earth comes from lot of different places. There are a lot of things goes on that as a humans we do not know. So our first responsibility is to remember who we are. Because imagine if somebody, let's just say you decided to take a medicine, or even today's people, video game, social media, it's a coping mechanism as an entertainment purpose to forget the life that they're living in the sense of entertaining themselves. Why do we need entertainment? Because either stress or something that we need to get away from. So if we create a life where we do not need to get away from. We do not need any kind of these kind of external entertainment. That is the point of spirituality. We as a soul, remembering our actual identity, our essence, and remembering our power, and creating the life that we do not need to escape from, we do not need to run away from, and experiencing that joy, that satisfaction, that fulfillment, that fruitfulness um, is something that we are supposed to do on earth. People who think spirituality as meditation, it's something that I disagree with. Spirituality is something that when we shift from reacting to life and move towards responding to life. Because when the consciousness, our awareness ascends, it becomes very distinctively different in behavior way. That change comes. There are people who are children, they usually they say, no, why you behave like a children, as if children are very naughty or very reactive. There are a lot of kids who behave as if they are 90 years old. I personally experienced one child in my own distance family. Not too many encounters with such kids, but they do exist. It feels like they are born with some kind of remembrance from their past, which does not allow them, or they do not choose to behave like a typical child, and it feels like they're already grown into the grandpa's state. It is not in a negative way. It's just their reaction to life is very different. Their expectations, their way of managing themselves, their behavior, their thinking, the judgment or the speech, everything is something reminds you of a elderly or somebody who has experienced life for decades and decades. No, so it is not because of the life experience people mature. It's because of the realization of the life people mature. Maturing it's also debatable. When people speak about, oh, this person is so mature, this person is not mature, it's just perception. What do you mean by mature? If a person is very serious, responsible, competent, maybe people say mature, but does not mean that that is the way of life. Us as humans, enjoying our life in a way that benefits us, not to indulge in things that is bad for us, even if it is the happy thing. This is exactly why being obsessed over something, it can be good, it can be addictive as well. That is why there is a difference between this is good, this is addiction means something excessively doing, it is not good. So being mature, being actually enjoying life, these people who are really mature, they do most likely have an inner feeling that they did not enjoy their life. I'm not applying to every single one. So no matter who we are, there is a part that may look into somebody else and they may think like, oh, this person is so chill, so calm, doesn't get angry or so composed all the time. How it is possible? It would be nice to be that way. And the same person might look at this person and think in a different way, that life made them very serious or composed, or they were born that way. But this person is so carefree, so spontaneous, so what do you call it, that spark of life this very untamed spirit. They may look at this person and think of this person as something, born free, the free spirited person, and they may want, at least for some time, to be like this cool person. So accepting ourselves is very essential. So whatever the society or the people opinion is, it is true to certain extent, and we have to engage in life accepting our all areas. In all areas of our life, we have to accept ourselves. In order to do that, remembering ourselves and remembering our power, our own identity is very essential. To reach a place, either to be a divine feminine or divine masculine, we acknowledge that this is what we are. And when we acknowledge ourselves, universe acknowledges us. Means we finally, without looking at somebody else and praising them, we are looking at our own self with such a self-love towards ourselves, that admiration towards ourselves without the ego, an acknowledgement that yes, this is what I am. And that's perfectly wonderful. Not to argue with somebody that I'm this way, so deal with it. No. It is a clear understanding that this is what I am. And that is how it is. Without the ego, accepting that self-acceptance, whether however we think, we speak, behave, our competency, looks, etc., 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 in all areas of life. In order to have that self-acceptance, remembering our true identity is very important. Imagine go back 200, 300 years ago. There was a prince who got kidnapped, and suddenly, you may say, got some amnesia and forget and living like a commoner. And suddenly, somebody finds this prince or princess and make them realize that they are the important part of existence in their own kingdom, that they did not knew their own original identity, and suddenly they know they are the princess, and suddenly they have the authority, they have the power, they have the connections, people, responsibility, and along with that, a realization that they are important. It is because other people came to their life to make them realize. But if the same person has never been kidnapped and kept growing as a prince or princess in a palace, that understanding that they are the prince, they are the princess, and this is their power, it comes to them naturally. So there is a difference between those two. People coming to life and make you realize that you are important, and you being wherever you are and considering you as something important. That's also without the ego. This is what we are supposed to do. Whether somebody comes to our life to make realize that you are an important person, or you ourselves decide that we are important to us. People who are surrounded by those who are not good at complimenting or not good at acknowledging the worth of other people. If you're surrounded by those kind of people who never acknowledges, who never gives a single compliment, never gives any kind of acknowledgement, that positive acknowledgement, or too much criticism, or always trying to find some kind of a faults in the behavior. If you're somebody who's surrounded by these kind of people, it's very essential it's a realization. People have the ability to say positive things, people have the ability to say negative things. So our surrounding is a secondary factor. Our understanding of our situation comes from self acceptance. This is what the situation is, this is what I am, and this is what the necessity, this is what dream is, this is what wish is, this is what need is, whatever this is. So, whatever comes from outside, whether it's an appreciation or something negative, it is exactly why we are supposed to. Now, there is always say, no, do not react, only respond. It is because of that, because people are reflections of themselves. Because there is a two people, I'll give you an example, person A, person B. If a child, someone else's child, is screaming and shouting, and person A gets angry, and it might be because they are going through a lot of depression, there is a lot of problem, they haven't slept for 1 week whole, whatever the reason. And the second person who sees the child and doesn't shout, first person shouts and says, go back to your mom or a father, go find your people, don't shout here. This kind of situation happens in wedding venues. Kids run around and suddenly some person, old person or somebody, why you guys are shouting, and go back to your family, go back to your parents. They do say that. It's because of something that irritates them. It is not because of the fault of the child. And there are second person, the person B, even if they get irritated, they might try to hold on to the positivity within them and consider a child as a child, and not to get that negativity get the hold of them, and may calmly tell the child, don't run around, you might fall, just go find your parents and sit there. Or despite person B might never even react, it is all internal. It is advisable, suggestible to be like person B, whether it's automatically that person is calm enough, composed enough, not to even to think this child's screams, that running around and doing all these things as some kind of irritation. Or even if they get irritated, they have the ability to hold back and say, it's okay, it's a child, and let it go. It's better to be in the place mentally, emotionally, as a person B. This is exactly why we I'm suggesting to remember our essence. In order to do that, meditation is very essential. It is something like, if you're joining the military, you need your physical capability to be very strong, and if the mind is strong, psyche is strong, and body also gets stronger. It is like a software and a hardware working together. So in order to have that realization of what we are, if you say anesthesia, if you give that injection or method use, you can get rid of that sensation in part of the body wherever you are administrating the anesthesia, right? This is exactly how we are supposed to do. We are giving orders to the body through certain system to calm down and let our consciousness overtake the whole body system, because body is something connected to the physical world. This is exactly why, backing off, cutting ties with negative things, or something that is excessively not so good. So meditation helps us to focus inward. This is exactly why, in order for this body and our mind to work in a very better way, I wouldn't say mind, I would say consciousness, because mind is completely different than our heart. In order for our consciousness and the body to work to the best of ourselves, releasing the negative influence of the earth is essential to have that remembering who you are. My spirit guardians, always used to say, remember who you are. Whenever the time, whenever it felt suffocating enough to shed tears, or whenever it felt like feeling of being in a bottleneck, they would always say, remember who you are. Because if you remember who you are, remembering your power becomes easier when we know our rights. You just take it as some kind of law. If person compared to who knows the law and another person who doesn't know the law, it's different for both because they know their right. It's our birthright. There are certain things that we actually let things happen in our life through the universal laws. If we know this is how it works, in order to do that, having memory of our actual identity is very good. It's essential. Unless we are born into anybody, I'm not particularly speaking about me or you. If somebody is born into a family which essentially by default chooses to teach these kind of things, or somebody comes in contact with people who indirectly teach these kind of things to people, then it's completely different. But people who are, you know, born into different kind of situation, picking up different kind of a mentality, personality, this is right, that is wrong, that morality, a person may think, being too kind is nice. Another person may think this is weakness. No, it's like a double-edged sword. Being nice is completely different than being good. Being nice is something when people are people pleasing, letting go of their self respect. They may decide to, prioritize somebody else's comfort, or showing someone else kindness, ditching themselves. That is not kind to themselves. That is actually not nice. So being good is something that when somebody is kind to others, but not at their own expenses. They value themselves enough to not to abandon themselves. Being good is good. Being nice is not nice actually. So we are supposed to be good, not nice. That people pleasing, letting others do whatever they want, and not speaking up, not standing up for themselves. For some reason, maybe people feel like they don't want to get into an argument, or they may feel, what will happen if you get into an argument. So there are a lot of reasons on that. So we are supposed to be that. So this is exactly why to remember our existence, our actual essence, is very important, because we are all connected to each other on a soul level. During a lot of times, those people who have the ability to, I would say, epiphanies or deja vus, or people see certain prophetic dreams about themselves. Some things happen, something doesn't happen. It's all because of our ability to receive. Means when we are dreaming, our soul goes to travel, and astral travel, and many people don't even realize it. We are in contact with our spirit guardians when we are asleep. Maybe not on a daily basis, but we do. So, as a soul to soul, all of us are connected through that unconditional love that's connected to the universal consciousness. So, this is exactly why, no, Vasudeva Kutumbakam comes, because it is not our physical reality. This is our consciousness that is connected to everybody. It is like if you see, I would say, Hollywood movie, Lucy, there is a particular scene that I can recall where she gets overwhelmed with that emotions after absorbing certain particles of a chemical, and suddenly she sees everything, you know it looks like a matrix and it's connected to everybody, but in an energetic way, in reality, we are connected to each other. You know, this is exactly why we need to remember ourselves, because when we remember our own existence, our reality, we take our power back to us. So when we realize our birthright, our power, it becomes it becomes easier to hold on to our uh, wishes, our needs, our necessities, and not to let go of the things that are supposed to be ours. Because lot of time people let go of the things that they think that they do not deserve, or um, somebody else deserves it, or something like that. Compromising, sacrificing unnecessarily without them realizing it. So this is exactly why we need to remember. So this is the point of our life, realizing our competency, expanding our consciousness, understanding our um, true identity, remembering who we are, and using that knowledge to make our life more happier, healthier, satisfying, and spending the life in that way. So our vibration, our energy would be in a high vibration. That is the point of spiritual ascension. People, I'll give you an example. People who experience sudden financial growth, suddenly they might, now I'm not saying everybody, but they may actually calm down a little bit, and they may become more kinder, they may become more giving. It's because now they have the financial abundance to be that, because it gives them calmness, it gives them an assurance that they have enough. Now they don't have to wonder about this and that. This is exactly creating a life that makes us smile is way better. This is exactly we need to remember our essence and our true self and our identity. I hope you understand.